Thanks for joining us for 5 on 5. I'm Joe Sullivan. Pleased to be joined from Washington, D.C. by Senator Merkley. Senator, thanks for your time.
Oh, it's great to be with you.
First off, what are your thoughts on the cabinet picks by President-elect Trump, in particular Matt Gaetz?
Well, Matt Gaetz is a terrible choice. He's got ethical issues swirling about him. There was supposed to be an ethics report released, but he resigned a day before that happened. I think the Senate, I will predict now, the Senate will not confirm Matt Gaetz.
Why do you say that?
Because I've heard from my Republican colleagues that they are very disturbed about some of the record in his life. They're determined not to go forward unless they do get the report from the House of Representatives. Not clear that the Speaker of the House will release that. But there's also been criminal allegations in his past that they want to thoroughly vet. It's the vibe I'm getting from my Republican colleagues is that this is not a good choice.
You're digging into greater detail about election betting. Why do you think the American public cares about anyone looking into this?
You know, because we're a democracy, where the ballot box is the critical place where we choose the leaders to take us to a better future. And if you imagine betting this circumstance, it's like betting on a ball game, where at the same time those who are betting control the umpire. That is because we have this system of super PACs in America, authorized by the Supreme Court's decision on Citizens United, that allows the mega rich to spend millions and millions of dollars anonymously on campaigns. So they can bet on a race and then come in at the last second with a massive smear campaign and enrich themselves. That turns this into a money-making fixed or rigged game, as opposed to an election of integrity about who we want to lead us in the future.
Next week is Thanksgiving. Thousands of people will be flying out of Oregon airports. How do you feel about TSA using facial recognition technology?
Well, I hate it. It's no faster than handing over your driver's license, and it's the foundation for building a national surveillance system that will be able to track us everywhere we go. There hasn't been one case where a terrorist has been caught through facial recognition inside the U.S. This is not talking about people flying into the U.S. from outside. And if the argument is that you might catch someone someday, then that argument will extend to train stations and bus stations and entry into stadiums. And pretty soon you have a government that's tracking you everywhere you go. This is not a power that any government should have if we care about freedom.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with the senator. Stay with us. Welcome back to part 2 of our 5 on 5 with Senator Merkley joining us from Washington, D.C. And Senator, why do you think President Biden has chosen this time to allow Ukraine to use U.S.-made long-range missiles against Russia?
Well, it really was a response to Russia bringing in the 10,000 individuals from North Korea, escalating in that fashion. This is an issue that many in this administration thought should be done long ago, but he wanted to make sure that we don't escalate this into a confrontation directly between the United States and Russia. That's a thoughtful, careful way of trying to support Ukraine, but also wanting to make sure that we don't trigger a broader regional war, a war directly between the United States and Russia.
You're going on a road trip next week to the Republic of Korea. What do you hope to accomplish on this trip?
Well, this is an international conference on regulating plastics. Plastics, we used to worry about it as litter, and then we worried about it as marine animals gobble up pieces of plastic in our rivers and oceans. Now we are worried about plastics because microplastics are getting into our food, our air, our water, and they are endocrine disruptors. They disrupt the normal functioning of our reproductive system, and that means that they're a major suspect for a number of diseases. So plastics are kind of an environmental problem that needs a lot more attention, and the world is going to have to work together to try to take them on throughout their entire life cycle. And that's what this negotiation in Korea is all about.
With the Senate, House, and White House all controlled by Republicans soon, how do you prepare for the major changes coming early next year?
Well, certainly I had a lot of experience serving 8 years in the minority in the Oregon House of Representatives. I work on every bill to find a partner across the aisle. There is more that unites us than divides us, but you have to put in the work in this more intensely tribalized political system we have.
All right, we have about a minute left. Is there anything else you feel our viewers should be aware of that we haven't talked about?
Well, I want to mention, when you go in front of those cameras as you're traveling over the holidays, you don't have to step in front of the camera. If you don't like the idea of a national surveillance system being established, just pull out your driver's license, step away from the camera, and say, "I'd like to use my driver's ID." And you'll get probably a very gracious response saying, "Absolutely, that's fine." So just know that you have that power.
All right, Senator Merkley, thank you so much for joining us from Washington, D.C.
You're welcome.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with more local news.